Howdy, Full Metal Cowboy, straight shooting a review of Ummagumma. This is a live album as well as the fourth studio album by Pink Floyd. Now, why is this a live album and studio album in the same release? Hell if I know, because this has got to be the most confusing release in Pink Floyd's discography. In retrospect, I would like to wonder what the hell happened here. We had The Piper at the Gates of Dawn being an okay debut album with some good songs in it. Then A Sauce Full of Secrets, which was an improvement in a number of ways comparing to The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. More was a soundtrack. I did not cover it for my series of Pink Floyd reviews, but now we get to Ummagumma, where it is very different from what they put out before, and I cannot say this in a good way. Now, since this is both a live album and a studio album in one release, I'm going to be upfront on how I'm going to handle this review. I'm not going to talk about track to track with the live half. I'm only going to do that for the studio half. But since the live album is the one that starts off Ummagumma, I guess I can cover one simple thing about that live half of Ummagumma. It's just live performances of songs that they did in the past, some from The Piper at the Gates of Dawn and A Sauce Full of Secrets, and there's even a track that didn't even appear in either album. So I guess there's that. If you really like to listen to live recordings, I guess you can jump on the live half, and I would even argue that is actually the better half compared to the studio version. Now, given that Ummagumma is a live album and a studio album rolled into one release, I'm not going to go track by track with the live side of Ummagumma, and I won't do the same for the studio album either. After Ummagumma's release, Pink Floyd themselves disliked this album. I don't blame them. This is by far their most forgettable record. The only defense I can see towards Ummagumma is that Pink Floyd probably made this album in desperation for financial reasons. And it doesn't surprise me that Ummagumma is likely their weakest album to date, given that it is half a live album and half a studio album. It just doesn't mesh in well because we have live performances of songs they did in the past meshed in with new material in the latter half of the album. And the strangest thing is, I actually enjoy the live side more than I do with the studio side, because at least I can recall that, hey, they did live performances of these older songs they did before this. And every time I revisit the studio side of Ummagumma, I find it boring every time I keep coming back to it. And I also don't remember much out of it in every revisit. Much like the titular track of A Sauce Full of Secrets, there are a couple of tracks in Ummagumma, although in the edition I was listening to, they had the segments being their own tracks, but there are a couple of pieces of the studio side of Ummagumma called Sisyphus, which is a reference to the Greek mythology name of the same name, and the Grand Vizier's Garden Party being rather long tracks in Ummagumma. Now, while I did say that Ummagumma is a very forgettable album by Pink Floyd, there is one track that does stand out amongst the rest, largely because it left me with a reaction of what the fuck am I listening to, and I'm going to read the title off my tablet because I cannot memorize the full title for shit. The track I'm referring to is several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave and grooving with a pit. That is the full title. And I thought Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Sailor, Rich Man, Poor Man, Beggar Man, Thief from Radiohead was a long title. Oh, no. Pink Floyd had a longer title that I cannot memorize the full fucking title. I'd rather listen to Revolution Number 9 by the Beatles than listen to this crazy shit, because all that this specific Pink Floyd song has is and a bunch of other weird shit. I have no fucking clue what they were thinking. If you are a diehard Pink Floyd fan and must listen to everything that Pink Floyd has recorded, then by all means, check out Ummagumma at your own leisure. Otherwise, I highly recommend that you skip this album. It's not worth your time. I'm going to be shooting a 2 out of 10 for Ummagumma. Next in my series of Pink Floyd reviews is Atom Heart Mother, another album that Pink Floyd themselves are not fond of. I'll be reloading for my next review, so until then, I'll see you later.